Hey guys, Danny Johnson here, and today I'm going to show you the stock IRS cover on the 0304 Cobra compared to the Ford Racing, or now technically Ford Performance diff cover girdle. That's a really nice aftermarket piece. So I'm going to compare them kind of side by side, show you the different attachments, that kind of thing. So the first thing to point out is if you look at it, look at the thickness between the two of them. I mean, this aftermarket one is by far a thicker piece, a lot more heft to it. Okay, and if that thickness is a difference, then compare it now to a regular solid rear axle cover. This thing is flimsy as can be. You can bend it with a screwdriver as you're taking it off. So that's kind of the three. Although that's not too relevant since this is solid rear axle, the solid rear axle version of this looks almost identical. It's just missing the IRS brace here. It still goes across. And I have that one on my Mach 1 and it's been fantastic. So with that said, make sure when you're buying this for your 0304 Cobra, you don't buy the solid rear axle version because it will not have the mounts here to go to the subframe. So just make sure you're getting the right item. Okay, overall the structure of this, you can tell the Ford Racing or Ford Performance one has a lot more structure to it. It's going to keep it a lot more solid. And we're going to talk a little bit about the attachments. So on the stock cover, all you have is a fill plug. So that means if you ever want to drain the fluid on the stock one, you pretty much have to at least loosen the bolts on the bottom and separate it to get the fluid to come out. And then when it's all tightened back up, all you would do is put the hose here in the fill plug and you would fill it with fluid until it overflows down here. Okay, and that's all you can do. If you look at the Ford Racing one, it has several attachments to it, and that can confuse a lot of people, so we'll go over a few of these things. Okay, first of all, up here at the top, this is to fill fluid only, okay, but this is where a lot of people mess up. They put the hose in here and they fill it till it overflows, and they've completely overfilled the differential. And so it'll spew oil out the half shafts or anywhere it can if it builds pressure, maybe even out of the vent tube at the top. So this is used only to add fluid, but this is the actual fill level plug right here. So what you would do when you're filling this is have both of these removed, and you're going to put a tube in here and fill it full of diff fluid until it starts coming out down here. Now the 0304 Cobra also, just while we're on this topic, recommends the 75W140. Okay, that's a lot different than the 75W90 that you'll see in a lot of solid rear axle applications. Okay, so also if you look on the side, there's another attachment here, and this is the return line for the cooler. So down here at the bottom you have a drain plug, but it also acts as the pickup line if you're attaching a cooler. So this line would go to a cooler, and on its way back in, this is the return line. It would go back into the top here. So you can see how confused people can get because you have all these different places to attach lines or fill fluid levels and that kind of thing, but that's what that's for. So it is nice to have a drain plug in here if you ever want to just drain the fluid out, and once again add fluid here until it overflows out of this one. Okay, now the other main difference, if you look at the stock cover, it's pretty bland, not much to it. This has these load bolts here for the actual bearing caps on the differential. And so I'll show you that right here. That would be for these main caps. Okay, and I have a series on installing gears and all that, and I'll put that link in the description. But as you can see, there's these little plungers here on the back side. Okay, and so these are meant to be screwed down. There's a lock bolt here that you unscrew. That's this plastic one. And then these load bolts, the bronze one, those are the ones that you're going to tighten down, and they do not take a lot of force at all. the load bolts should only be 5 to 10 foot-pounds. Okay, so not much at all. Not even, you're going to need a really small torque wrench just to measure that. So you just want to be putting the slightest amount of pressure on those bearing caps. And so once you have 5 or 10 foot-pounds on this one, then you're going to torque this outer one here, and that one's going to go to 25 to 30 foot-pounds for the jam nuts here. Okay, so that's what those ones are. Don't crank them down too tight, or you can ruin the bearings inside the axle. Okay, other than that, you do have your vent tube here. Okay, and you can see it on that one. It's just a piece of rubber hose that allows pressure to be vented. As well, just like the stock cover, this is where the cover mounts to the actual subframe of the IRS. And a question I've had before is, if you have this aftermarket differential brace, okay, will it work on the new cover? The answer is no. First of all, physically it does not fit. Okay, just because of the design, you can see that it will not come down on top of that. Secondly, all it has is a fill plug hole on it. So you will need to buy a different aftermarket brace if you're looking to also add a differential brace to this. So with that said, the 2 bolts that may be on your car now, if you do have a brace, not sure that those are going to work with the stock system. We'll have to see. You'd either need spacers or different bolts. So something to keep in mind. And the aftermarket hardware that comes with the diff cover is going to give you all the bolts going around the cover. It's not going to give you new mounting bolts. And just as a comparison, here's the size difference. They're pretty close, but if you start them head to head, yeah, they're about the same size. So I don't know, if you needed to, you could reuse these bolts if you had them, but it comes with newer ones, and they're kind of the Allen style. Put an Allen in there and make sure you have your washer on there too. So there's a little side-by-side comparison for you. If you have any other questions that come up, go ahead and put them in the comments. I'm pretty good about responding to anything that you put in the comments. And just let me know. Thanks for watching.